Welcome to another build guide for my Blood Chief Marauder. This is a very long video, but it had to be, so I could go over every aspect of this build, so you would know exactly what to do and when to do it. In this video, we have gear, skill tree, and at the end, we have how we leveled the build and what skills we used to level up. Please enjoy. With clear speed, massive DPS, can do all content in Breach without even a problem. Do you want to kill Shaper? Do you want to kill all the Guardians? Do you want to get all of the domains on farm? Blood Magic Warchief is here for you. Enjoy the guide, because this build is gonna bring you full power and control of your Breach destiny. Hey, what's up guys? How y'all doing? Good to see you tuning in again. We are going over the skill tree right now for my Blood Chief Marauder Ancestral Warchief build. This build is very sick, and I just wanted to give you guys a little run through of why I chose each of the individual stats on the skill tree, and then you guys can do it yourself and build this legendary character as well. To start this off, we start in the Marauder's crotch again, because it seems that all the power of the Marauder starts right here. We start off with life and armor. We come down, grab more life and armor. We come over here, more life and armor coming over here. We actually skip the life regeneration node because we want to save on some points. We come over here, we grab Warrior's Blood. We come over here and we grab a diamond skin. Here's where we're going to get some resistances. Since our gear has a lot of uniques, getting resistances can be very difficult in this build. So when you can grab resistances and a big node like this, it's pretty good. Then we come up here, we grab Heart of the Warrior. This gives us more life, which is what we need. We're life-based. Come up here, Born to Fight. Very good. More damage, more damage. Come up here. It's nice that we cross through here because we grab some intellect on the way up. Whenever we can see these jewel nodes, we always go for jewel nodes. Jewel nodes are absolutely legendary in this build. I'll show you guys why. So you see this jewel node right here? This has increased area damage and physical damage. Right here, this is very important because we get a lot of our resistances from our jewels in this build. So getting our resistance from jewels is quite important. Also, the damage that we get by one jewel is pretty insane. Check this out. 366k, okay? 366k. Let's go back to our skill tree and let's remove that. And let's see how much damage one jewel removes from our DPS. Now we're at 353k. One jewel added that much DPS. Pretty insane. Pretty insane. So we're going to slot this bad boy back in there, and we'll continue here with this setup. That's why jewels are so crazy. They pump our DPS up extraordinary, and they give us that resistance that we're looking for, that we need in this build, which is pretty sick. All right, so after that, we're coming up here. We're actually going all the way up here because we want Amplify. So we're going to head up here. We're going to go to the Dexterity nodes. Dex is very good because we're running Val Grace and Val Haste. We need that Dexterity, and it's actually hard to get if we don't grab some nodes here. So we come up here, and we grab Sanctity. Gives us that Strength. Intellect is very good. Also, a few other stats that are nice. Go up here, more life. Retribution, very powerful node. Adds a lot to basically everything. We want more Amplify. This just adds our damage, adds our AoE. A very good node cluster right here. Kind of a must if you are running this type of build. This is kind of interesting. You see here how we have attack speed and accuracy. We have 3% increased attack speed, and we have precision here. Yeah, we don't need the accuracy, but the dexterity is what we do need. And that attack speed and cast speed is very, very good. There's an option that you guys can do right here that is pretty interesting. You have an option. If you guys only need dexterity with your skill tree and your items, let's say if you're missing some stats, you can grab just this one for dexterity, and then you can grab the increased attack speed and the movement speed, which is pretty interesting as well. If you do need other stats, there's another option between grabbing these two right here. What you could do is you actually can come down here and you can grab versatility, which is actually very good as well. Increased attack speed, and it has the 20 dex and intelligence. The reason why I actually grabbed this one up here, right here, instead of this one right here. Yes, this one gives me the 4% attack speed, reduce cost of mana, all that, but you don't need those. I don't need accuracy, and I don't need mana cost reduction. And I didn't need the intelligence either. So this one was going through two useless stats that I'm not even going to use. This is going to be absolutely useless. This is going to be absolutely useless. But this had the stats that I needed before. But then after I fixed my intelligence problem, I went up here and I grabbed this instead. And now I get the attack speed from this, and I get the attack speed from this, which comes to a 6% attack speed. And the dexterity is all I needed to run the Val Grace and Val Haste, since I had intellect in other items on the tree. But this is an option. You guys can grab it here, or you can go over here and grab this. Both are very good. Both are viable. All right, after we come down here, back over here, we actually come across the tree over here, and we actually are going over to grab Resolute Technique. This is going to make it so we can't deal crits. However, we can't be evaded. None of our hits can be evaded. We're always going to hit, which is pretty legendary. The thing is that is really good about this is that it's just that 100% chance you know you're always going to hit your opponent is pretty sick. Yes, block, all that stuff, but this is a very, very, very good node to grab. We're also grabbing those jewels again. This is one of those mandatory jewels you need to have in the build. This Spire of Stone is extremely, extremely important. The reason why this is important, not only the life for your totems. Yes, the life for your totems is absolutely great. Life for your totems, cool. We have a lot of strength here in this area that it's all tapping into, and that's absolutely great. But read the second line. Totems cannot be stunned. That means when you're fighting really hard bosses that hit hard, your totems are just going to keep relentlessly attacking. This is a must, and it's kind of a must if you want to do all the end game bosses and all the end game content. So grab yourself a Spire of Stone. It's really going to help you out, and it's going to make it so it's a lot easier for you to do that end game content. All right, after that, we're going to head up. We're going to grab Devotion. This has some interesting, it has some strength, it has some max life. It's a good little node to grab. We're going to come up here, we're going to grab Jewel Socket. Jewel Socket, again, amazingly important. This one is a triple dipper. It's a very good jewel. It has that totem damage, that fizz damage, and that area damage. If you can grab it, if you can grab stuff like this, oh my gosh. Grab them, pick them up. They are legendary. They add so much damage to your setup. We're also going to go up here, grab Ancestral Bond. Ancestral Bond is absolutely legendary. This thing is going to give us that last totem that we have. We're going to have one totem with the shield, one totem just normally, and then we're going to have the Ancestral Bond, which is going to add that other totem that's going to give us those 3 totems, multiplying our damage by 3, bringing us that huge DPS. That huge DPS. All right, after this, we're going to come down here, and we're actually going to go over here, and we're going to go over to Barbarianism. This is a really good, actually, cluster because it gives more resistance and it gives that HP that we're looking for as well. Our build is very, very thirsty for resistance. Since we're running so many uniques in our setup, it is very thirsty for resistance. So if you can grab a nice little cluster like this, oh, buddy, it's going to help you. It's going to help you a lot. Come down here, we're grabbing more jewel socket. Here you can see that I'm grabbing that physical damage, area damage, and that fire and cold resistance. Remember, we need those resistances. So when we grab our jewels, we're looking for jewels that have resistances. All right, we come over here, guys. We come over here, and we go up here. We have Juggernaut. This is a nice little node. It gives more recovery. So if you guys are using life flasks, currently I'm actually not using life flasks, and I'll show you why I'm not in the Ascendancy. But this is something, if you are leveling up and you are playing, it's an extra bonus that's going to give you more life and help you more with your flasks. Also, the increased life and all that is all just bonuses and absolutely great as well. If we come down here, we're going to grab, this is when we grab Blood Magic. You're not going to grab this till later in the game. You don't need this right away. You don't need this. You can run auras, you can run other things instead that are going to keep you, that are going to help you out more. This blood magic node is going to be very important when you get the Tokuhama shield. When you get the Tokuhama shield, this is going to be the key thing you're going to grab when you get that. Also, you can grab this if you get the skirmisher as well. These are the shields that I'm currently have set up. I have the great old one. I have the skirmisher, and then you got the Tokuhama fortress. This is going to be your end game shield. This shield's a little expensive. So when you get the currency, you get enough and you farm up enough to get it. This is going to be something that you will strive to. This is something you can use in the meantime. It's very inexpensive, a skirmish, and it also lets you have that additional totem that is very good. So either this or this, you can still run that blood magic. And the reason why we like blood magic is because we don't need to worry about our mana, and we can basically survive solely on our HP. And I actually really enjoy that, because then I can grab all of these HP nodes, which are absolutely massive. The 15%, the huge 10%, the other huge 10%, very good. And the higher level you get this build, I'm only level 91 right now, but the higher level you get this build, you have so many little areas in this tree to just put those points, like boom, another 4% life, or you can come back up to the top here, boom, another 6% life. That's what I really like about this. It has that versatility of, you put a level in, you can just keep upping your life, and there's always somewhere where you can put your point, which is really, really useful. If we come up here, we're to grab Ironwood. This is just another thing that keeps our totems alive, increases our totem damage, which is very, very good. All these totem nodes are absolutely great, so I grab all 3 of these, which is very nice. If we head back up the tree, past our Resolute Technique, past our Jewel Socket, back over here, we're going to actually see how we come down here. We go over to Warrior's Blood again, back at the beginning of the tree. We actually come down Warrior's Blood over here, and we actually cut up, and we grab, again, another jewel socket. Remember, those jewel sockets are huge in this build. Look for jewels with resistance. Look for jewels with fizz damage, area damage. Look for jewels that have totem damage. Look for jewels that just have damage in general. If you can get a triple dipper, oh, buddy, your DPS is going to be awesome with these triple dippers. And if you can get one with resistance, even better. Come up here, we're also going to grab Berserking. These are just awesome attack speed nodes. No reason not to grab it. We come up here, when I level up more, I'm going to grab more of these HP nodes. I'm just sparing some HP nodes right now because I honestly needed to grab another jewel socket, because I was running a unique chest that didn't have enough resistances for me that I needed to compensate. Right here, this is compensation. If you come over this way and come up here and grab this jewel socket, not all builds are gonna need to grab this. Not all builds are gonna need to go over here. I went over here because I needed the resistances, and this was a very easy path for me to go because I could grab a Sentinel, which gave me resistances. I could grab it. It gave me evasion and armor stats, which was useful for my build. And I can grab 2 more resistances here, plus a jewel socket. And once again, these jewel sockets, here's a triple dipper again. These triple dippers, oh my gosh, they are very, very GG. You grab one of these gems on the market, put this in your gear, you're going to see huge DPS increases. Huge DPS increases. Like, for example, look at this jewel, okay? All right, you guys ready? So here we have... check this out, guys. So we're going to put in... So right here, we're going to put in all our totems. So right now, with our buffs up, we have 366k, correct? And that's even not even before our 20% increase that we get with our Ascendancy, which is insane. Completely insane. All right, so we're going to come over here. We had 366. Watch this. Take this jewel out. Take this jewel out. Watch our DPS now. Watch the increase that 1 jewel does. To 347. 1 jewel. 1 jewel gives that much DPS. Boom. Jewels are legendary in this build. Absolutely legendary, guys. Absolutely legendary. So, after that, we actually come down here. So we're over here, we're coming down here again, and we actually come across and we grab the more intellect. We grab over here, we come Master of the Arena. Here's another really good little node. This thing gives us some good stats. We come over here, we grab bravery. This is more life, more evasion, more everything. We grab this, more dexterity. This is a huge attack speed one. Art of the Gladiator, massive attack speed. Accuracy we don't need, but the movement penalty, that's very good. And it has the 20 dexterity, that's very good as well. We come down here, since we're holding a shield, this is for when you have a shield equipped. So if you're not equipping a shield, these are going to be something that you're not going to need. You're not going to need these until you get that Tokuhama. Until you get that Tokuhama, or if you're going to go a Great Old One ward. Either of these, like if you go the Great Old One till you get to Tokuhama, then you can grab this. That'll be absolutely good. But if not, you have some other options. So if you're not going to grab the Tokuhama or the Great Old One, I would not go this route. Until you have it. You can still come down here, but I would not go down this route. I would go another route until you get here, because I would spend your points somewhere else, because this right here is basically only going to really help you when you have this or this. If you're using the skirmisher, it's not going to help you. These retaliation, for example, which is something that's very, very strong. Also, all of these are extremely strong, but they're extremely strong when you're wielding a shield. So since I'm wielding a shield, they're strong. I got the Tokuhama or I got the Great Old One, but with the skirmisher, no go. We also have more jewel sockets. You see, we're grabbing all those jewel sockets we possibly can. And because jewel sockets are so strong in this build, and they give us a lot of resistances that we are missing. But this skill tree is very good, and it works very, very well. Very well. So if we come back to the beginning here again, I forgot to go over this as well. We do come over here and grab Totemic Mastery. This is just a very strong node right here. Very strong node. It has lots of buffs, lots of damage, and things that are just things that are great for the build. But yeah, this is the build setup we have, and it works very well, guys. And if you need the build tree, it's in the links below in the YouTube video. Now, to go over to gear. To go over gear, guys, we actually have gear that we have, and gear we've chosen does not have to be the gear that you need for this build. You can do a very versatile version of this build, and that's because there's a lot of other options you can do. Helmet, yes, we went for a sheer damage helmet. a sheer damage helmet, Abyssus. This thing is going to make you squishy.
I shall call him Squishy, and he shall be mine, and he shall be my Squishy. Come here, Squishy. Come here, little Squishy. Ow!
It's going to make it so that when you take physical damage, it's going to hurt. It is really going to hurt. And this is where it comes down to, do you want to have that extra damage? Because you can go a Devotos as well. A Devotos is a very viable option as well, but you will have a lot less DPS. Abyssus is a helmet that if you go Abyssus, you want that huge DPS, and you're going basically the route of I'm gonna kill the boss or the enemy before it kills me. If you're looking for enchants, the Ancestral Warchief totem damage, yes, this is a hard enchant to get, but you want to try to look for that enchant. That enchant is going to be the strongest enchant you can do. This build is still very good without it. You don't need it, but it's going to add more damage to your increased damage to your Ancestral Warchief, which is very useful. There's a few other enchants you can get as well. Any of the other Ancestral Warchief enchants are good, but I would honestly look for the Ancestral Warchief totem. You can't get it, that's fine. Just keep running, keep grinding. Maybe eventually you'll get it, and it'll feel good. It will feel good, my friends. For chest pieces, we're currently using a Carcass Jack, but that does not mean you have to use a Carcass Jack. For a very long time in this build, I was just using a crummy rare chest, and I was still clearing all the content in the game, and I was still doing everything perfectly viable, everything perfectly fine. The rare chest I was using, I just got a 6-link Astral plate, and I just threw a couple chaos at it, and I rolled 2 resistances, and I rolled HP, and it was a very good chest because it actually saved me some of my resistances that I was missing. But with those jewels that we have currently, we have max resistances, which is how we are getting a lot of our resistances in this build. So yes, I'm using a Carcass Jack, but you can use a rare Ancestral plate. You could easily use a Belly of the Beast. A Belly of the Beast would be absolutely great. You could also use the Brass Dome. The Brass Dome is very viable, and that's the helmet, the Devotos helmet. Both are going to be very good for the build, and you can run both of them. For rings, I'm currently using steel rings. However, there's other options instead of steel ring. You can use a Void Heart. A Void Heart is a good option. You can pick up a cheaper Void Heart. That's going to be a very good option. So you can use a Void Heart and a steel ring. If you guys can't get a Void Heart or a steel ring, because they are kind of expensive right now in the league, you can run an Iron Ring. 2 Iron Rings will be very good with some resistances and some fizz damage on them. Those will be very good. You have other options as well, but you need to always look for physical damage. Remember, with face breakers, we're always trying to get that physical damage, because physical damage is how we are scaling. And since we're multiplying our physical damage so much with our face breakers, it's very important for you guys to find rings that have that physical damage roll. My steel ring, this one is decent, pretty good, and this one is not that good, but it still has those physical damage rolls that we're looking for. And in this build, we're kind of going that ideology where I'm going to kill my target before it has a chance to kill me. For the jewelry, I'm running a Dex jewelry with some resistances. It has a high physical damage roll, because since we're running Val Grace and Val Haste, both of these require a lot of Dex, 155. And to grab that Dex, you need to find your stats somewhere. That's why in the tree, I grabbed that Dex stat node, and I grabbed a few other stat nodes as well, just to get that dexterity up to a level so I could use both of the Val Haste and Val Grace. So for rings, we're using the steel rings. You can use other ones. Iron rings, fine, they'll be good. 1 Void Heart, something else will be good, but then again, you're missing out on resistances. You got to find the resistances somewhere. They're hard to get. For belt, we're using that Meganords. The reason why we're using Meganords is it gives us that huge physical damage. And physical damage is, remember, how we get that big damage. That big damage that we're looking for, that huge damage. Meganords is going to give us that damage. Even though we're missing out on a lot of stats with it, try to find one with high cold res, because once again, any little bit of stat really, really matters. Yes, so for boots, I'm using Death Door right now. You do not need Death Door. I stress this enough. I have these on right now because I wanted to farm Uber, and with Uber, they help versus the trio, since you can't bleed and things like that. They're not needed. You don't need them. They're not mandatory. Death Door are a luxury, and this is a luxury that you could run a rare, and a rare would be probably better. Probably better. So this is what we're using on this. Over gloves, we're just using some face breakers. I'm still testing out on enchantments. I don't find there's any real enchantment that is game breaking on this build. There's ones that are good, but I don't find there's any game breaking enchant except for the helmet that is pretty large. But for the gloves and for the boots, there's not much that is that good. There might be, if you could get reflection, the creative reflection, that would be really good on this. Also, on the boots, you could grab the one that gives you attack speed. If you recently killed, that would be good. If you want to go damage, I like this one because it gives me a little bit more chance to dodge a spell. And I find spells and things like that, if you're doing Shaper, you're doing Atziri, whatever it is, that is going to be your weakest thing. Spells that are going to hit you. So that's why I have the spell damage. However, it's not the best. There's tons of other ones that are going to be good. So don't really stress on the enchantment in your boots or your gloves, because both are going to be good. And this is kind of a mandatory item. You need face breakers. You got to grab one. Abyssus is a little bit more flexible, but I would still grab one if I was you. And boots, 100% flexible. Chest, 100% flexible. And all the other stuff is pretty flexible and not that expensive. So this is the thing that you can do, and you can change around until you get more currency with this build, because you're going to be starting to farm those domains and all the stuff that is going to get you all that good currency. So this is all going to be stuff that you guys are going to be able to run and get. For shields, I'm using the Tokuhama Fortress. This is an amazing shield. However, a little bit expensive. This is a shield that you're going to farm. Maybe it'll drop for you. It's RNG. But this shield is hard to get. It's a little bit expensive, but once you farm up enough for it, I'd highly suggest you grabbing it. It is going to give you the power. And you see at the bottom, it says blood magic. Well, we're already running blood magic, so it's not really a negative for us. Not really a negative for us. We also are going to use Skirmisher. Skirmisher is another viable option if you don't have a Tokuhama. It's going to make you a little squishier, though, which is something that's got to be more cautious. Since the Tokuhama gives us 300 armor per active totem, that gives us a lot of armor and a lot of more durability that we don't have without it. Another option is the Great Old One. This one, again, has that damage that's going to scale. And it's going to scale and increase your damage a lot. However, it's not as good as the Tokuhama. The reason why it's not as good as the Tokuhama, with the Tokuhama you have three, right? So with 3, you're multiplying your damage by 3. With the Great Old One, you're multiplying your damage by 2. Yes, your tooltip is going to be higher with the Great Old One. However, the increase that the Great Old One's going to give you, it's not going to be as insane as having 3 totems, because the multiplier is another totem. So try to grab this or grab the Skirmisher, and you're going to do better actually than the Great Old One, just solely because of that extra totem. The multiplier is just higher. It's another totem. So yeah, for gem setups, guys, now we're going over gem setup. For gem setup, in the helmet I have an Arctic Breath. The reason I'm Arctic Breath, I actually like this. I like it because it leaves a ground trail behind it that creates ice, and also slows enemies and stuff like that. I have that linked with Immortal Call, and I have that linked with Increased Duration and Cast When Damage Taken support. So since I have my Enduring Cry, we have Enduring Cry on W, we're still getting those endurance charges, and if we're ever going to take a big hit, we got that Immortal Call to try to keep us alive. This is very useful for when I'm doing Uber Atziri. I'm very careful on the trash, because the trash is very difficult in Uber Atziri. So even when I'm doing the trash, I'm very, very careful and mindful of what's going on.
Shining through, it's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you.
So I use the Immortal Call with the Enduring Cry just to shave off that very extensive damage that the Abysses can do to us with that increased physical damage taken that we have. The other thing that we use, so on the chest, we have Ancestral Warchief. We have added fire damage support. This is going to add, gain 44% of our physical damage to extra fire damage, which is very, very strong. We're grabbing melee physical damage support as well. This is going to increase your damage even more. That more multiplier that we're looking at. More is always better than increased. If you find a more, boom, grab the more. More is the good stuff. Concentrate effect. This is for our single target bosses. When we're fighting our single target, we are to use concentrate effect because it makes the radius smaller. But since we have 3 totems, the amount of damage that the concentrated effect can do is insane. Like, we're up to 1.3 million by ourselves, and if we're playing with, let's say, my aura friend, I can get up to like 3 million DPS single target, which is pretty ridiculous. Over here we have faster attacks. Faster attacks is very good, and we have melee damage on full life support. Melee damage on full life support. That is that more again. Remember, we're staying alive here. We're staying all of our HP up very high because for our ascendancy, we're actually going up to the Hinakora's Death Fury. The reason why we're going up to the Hinakora's Death Fury is because this gives us that 1% damage leech life. That doesn't really matter. Damage penalty, 10% fire resistance. Well, we are doing some fire damage. Remember, we are doing that fire damage. We do have that added fire damage support. So that does work with that. But the thing that we're actually looking for that's keeping us alive, that's allowing me to use all of my flasks here, is that the fact of the matter is 1% of damage dealt by your totems is leached to you as life. Insane. And as well, you see right here how we have gained 20% of physical damage as extra fire damage. Watch this. Watch our damage. So that, remember that you see that little orb, that little red orb that's floating around us, that little red orb? That is the extra damage we have right now. So we've killed recently, extra damage. We killed recently. Watch our DPS right now. Upping everything we have. Look at this. 402k DPS. 402k DPS per totem when we recently kill. That is astounding. That's completely astounding DPS. That's why I grabbed this. Hinakora, very, very good. We also get a few other bonuses as well. We get increased fire damage, which is good. Some more regeneration, more increased fire damage. And we actually come over here. We actually grab the Tokuhama's Ward. This is going to keep mobs off you. And see how it says totems have 50% of your armor. And skills totem use have a 20% chance to taunt on hit. This doesn't work on some of the end game bosses since they nerfed it, but it does work on a lot of other things. So this will keep you alive. And totems reflect 8% of their life, which is very good. And this is a very interesting thing as well. While we have totems up, we do more damage, and we take less damage. So more totems we have up, the less damage we take and the more damage we do, which is very, 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 very vital as well. So this is absolutely great little thing to grab, and it really brings out a lot in the build. So for links on our gloves, I'm currently using a Val Lightning Trap. The reason I'm using Val Lightning Trap is I can toss it on a boss, and it has a 100% chance to shock that boss. So when it shocks it, that 50% increased damage is very, very GG. I have a random portal gem in here just because I always forget my portal gems. You can run something else, or my scrolls. You can run something else, no problem. I have an increased duration in here, and I have a Val Haste. Val Haste is awesome. Massive damage increase with Val Haste when you proc it. Great on bosses. Over here on boots, we have increased duration support. We have a Val Grace again, which Val Grace is one of those skills. It's kind of like the Val Haste, but Val Grace gives you that dodge chance and that spell dodge chance, which is going to keep you alive in scary fights, scary situations, scary breaches, whatever. We have a Flame Golem. I summon my Flame Golem. Flame Golem gives you 20% increased damage. That's just more damage I can run on the build. Why not, you know? More damage, the better it is. Enduring Cry. We have Enduring Cry on W. Enduring Cry just gives us that little more tanky and lets us survive some hits when we get hit by something and the Immortal Call goes off. And for our shield, we're using faster attacks, fortify support, and shield charge. So for flasks, this is the interesting thing. My flasks are kind of expensive. These flasks are something you're going to work on, and while you're farming the build, while you're playing the build, you are going to get these flasks, more and more of them. You're going to get more and more of these flasks, and they're going to increase your DPS every one you get. The first flask is Witchfire Brew. Witchfire Brew, this is an interesting flask. With Witchfire Brew, it actually is good. But if you can run the Void Heart and the Witchfire Brew, those are a really good combination. But the reason why I'm running a Witchfire Brew, it's my curse. It's how I'm getting my curse. So it gives me that 21 curse aura. So since I kill mobs so quickly, I can nearly have it up all the time. And that vulnerability is insane when you have, because it increases your physical damage. So it increases the amount of physical damage mobs take. Yes, it also does damage over time effects as well, but it does increase physical damage as well. And since our totem is doing such high damage, it is a very, very good curse to have going on your enemy. So this is a very good flask that you guys can pick up. If you can grab one, it's good flask. We're also grabbing a Taste of Hate. This gives us more survivability and more damage, and I can't complain about more damage and more survivability. Taste of Hate, fantastic flask, yet expensive. So if you can get one, that's cool. If you can't, then just run HP flasks, run regular flasks, run speed flasks, run other granite flasks, run evasion flasks, run Stibnite flask. Up to you. Up to you. Run whatever flasks you guys want. Flasks are not the biggest deal in this build. As you see, I don't even have an HP flask here. So, but if you run an HP flask, it can help you stay alive more. However, with that 1% leech, I find I don't need it. I actually can stay alive just with that 1% leech. Even on boss fights, even on everything, that 1% leech really keeps me alive. And even when I'm doing Shaper and I'm doing Uber Atziri, I don't even use a flask. HP flask. I don't actually need one because my totems heal me so much. So then we head over to Lion's Roar. Lion's Roar, massive DPS increase. That has that 35% more melee physical damage during effect. Insane. Lion's Roar is insane. It's not as expensive as the as this one or this one, but it's still it's quite an expensive flask, but very powerful. After that, we go over to Atziri's Promises. This is a very good flask. It gives us that physical damage, extra chaos damage, just that more damage we're looking at. Every flask I have multiplies damage, adds damage, adds damage, adds damage. Because this build is a damage dealing build. It's about doing a huge amount of damage to a target and obliterating it before it has a chance to kill you. That's how it works. Then we go over to the most overpowered flask of this, I would say this league. Sin's Rebirth is ridiculous. The fact that you gain Unholy Might during flask effect, mind-boggling. Unholy Might gives you 30% more damage as chaos. I know. Like, I've hit, with all my flask popped and all those things, I've hit over 1 million DPS with the, per totem, with this popped, and all my buffs and Oridon, we've hit over 1 million DPS per totem. Ridiculous. So yeah, if you can grab these flasks, they are going to be a powerhouse for you. If you can't grab them right away, farm for them. You don't need them right away. Don't worry about them. But when you can grab them, oh man, they are going to pump your damage up. You can run an Essence Worm with Hatred. You can actually take off, one of your auras, one of your rings, and you can actually run an aura. So you can run Essence Worm with a Hatred, and this is going to up your damage even more. So if you're able to fix your resistances and get your resistances with gear that is not going to make you lose resistances, you can actually run a Hatred, and a Hatred is another very viable option in an Essence Worm. And since we're running Blood Magic, this Hatred is not even going to take away from our reserve. So we're still going to get that huge cold damage increase, and we're not even going to lose anything from it because of the Essence Worm. Bandits, we went Oak point. However, you can go Oak physical damage point. That's also viable. However, I went point because I needed the extra point for my setup, and I needed it to grab some more resistance nodes and stuff like that. So both are viable, both are good, but if I can grab a point to grab an extra jewel socket, a jewel socket's gonna give me more than any bandit's gonna give me, which is why I really went that Oak point. I found it much better and works very well. We'll be going over leveling strategy and how you guys are to level this build up. To start off leveling, you're gonna want to go with a ground slam or a firestorm trap. Or you can also run a Sunder two-hand setup. That's to get up to the point where you can start using your face breakers. At around 35 points or so, you want to transition into the a double totem Warchief setup with either your face breakers or with a good two-hander. And that will start getting you to level up your gem as well as to start getting into the next level. So to start this off, we're going to go the same exact route we did before. Come down here, come up here, come up here, come up here. Same thing. Come over here. We're going to start grabbing a little bit of resistances. We're going to come up here again, and we're going to keep going up. It's not a bad idea to grab some jewel sockets now. You can. It's up to you. This is the point where it's kind of up to you, and how you play it is your decision. However, grabbing the Resolute technique early is a pretty good idea. It's a strong thing to grab, and I would grab that quite early on in the tree. When you get around 55 points, if you're using the Ancestral Warchief, you have good jewelry, and you're having good damage, that's okay. You can still use the face breaker, but if you're still having trouble, sticking with the two-hander until you get later on higher level, that's perfectly fine as well. We're going to come down here. I like grabbing jewel sockets early, because if you pick up good jewels can really help you out. We're going to come down here, and we're going to grab and start getting some totem damage. We won't grab Blood Magic just yet. We'll grab Blood Magic a bit later. This is at like 33 points here. We're going to come back up here, and we are going to make our way up here, going up through Sanctity, up here. This is a good point You need some extra stats to pick up precision here. You need intellect and dexterity. You can grab this one instead, versatility, which is also a good idea. After that, these nodes here are they're important later. You don't need them right now. So I'm going to head up here now at 45 points. Come up here, grab the jewel socket right here, and move my way over here. I'm going to grab the totem damage and ancestral bond. This is up to you here. Grabbing the ancestral bond for the additional totem is going to make you do no damage. So grabbing this it all feels of how your damage is coming along while you're leveling your character. If you feel that you can get by with just your totems, I would then stay at this. But if you feel that you can't get along with just your totems, keep this out till later on. Keep this out till later on. At this point, we are now going to start going down on the tree, down here, cutting up here, over to here, over to here, coming up here, grabbing the attack speed over here, and we are going to grab some of the life nodes here. Some of those nodes to start giving us more durability. Since we're grabbing these jewel sockets while you're making your way from normal, cruel, and merciless, these jewel sockets are going to help you out because you're going to be able to get resistance jewels that are going to be able to bring you to the next difficulty, to cap your resistance in the next difficulty, which is something that's going to be really useful. At this point, we can start getting into this. So we're going to grab this. At this point, we're also going to grab Ancestral Bond. And now if you are getting a shield, let's say if you have the old one or something like that, or you have the Tokuhama drop for you, you're going to come over here, you're going to grab all of this. We're going to start grabbing dexterity over here. We're going to come down here, we're going to grab the defensive nodes. Come over here, we're grabbing another of the jewel socket. Coming over here, still going down the tree, down into more damage node. This is a really good way of grabbing some more damage. So now we are pretty much at the final build form of the build. And at this point, you should be running the lab, because at 55 points, you should be probably already getting the normal lab done. 75 points, you should be getting your cruel done. And around whatever you feel comfortable, then you can start working on your Uber. Uber is very easy for you guys to get it done. What I'd highly suggest you guys do while you guys do Uber is get the lion's shield. That'll give you a lot of armor, and change, if you have your Abyssus yet, take off the Abyssus and wear another helmet. The Abyssus makes traps very, very difficult. If you guys need to get resistances, I would come over here to this side and grab this jewel socket here. This is going to help me. I did this on my build. Not all builds are going to need this. So if you don't need this, then don't use it. And at 95 points and at 112 points, you guys should be able to get all the content done. And this is kind of the end game build. So right here is how you guys level it up. I showed you guys right here. This is how you do it. To level up, remember, you got to use a Sunder. Sunder is really great. Ground Slam is really great. That's around 20 points. At 28, you're going to transition to the Ancestral Warchief. And you're going to start upping that, and it should be good, guys. I hope you enjoy leveling this character up as much as I did, and I hope you guys the very best luck getting all the loot and all the gear you guys need, and enjoy clearing all the end game content. Oh yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching the build guide. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself, and I hope it was very informative. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to come by our stream. We stream at these times up here, and we have a blast on our stream. We do giveaways, we do really fun content, and our stream is really interactive, and I would love to get to know you guys when you come to my stream. So feel free, come to the channel, and say hello. Be like, hey, I watched your build guide, I got a question, and we'll try to answer it for you. So other than that, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you liked it, please hit that thumbs up, and if you guys want to see more content and see more things, hit that subscribe button. Other than that, my friends, have a great day, and happy holidays, and catch you guys later on the next video. Oh yeah.